morning, viewers. Thank you very much. Welcome to Punchline Africa Television. We have switched sides from one of the televisions that we work with. I have been interviewed there on a number of issues happening across the continent of Africa. As you know very well, today is the Water Day. We call it Water Day. I don't know how much water Miriam has or how much water is in wherever she is. But I believe now she has water, and she has told me much earlier that her water has never ceased to come in her pipe. But most people across Kenya, some water is not available. Some places, they don't have even water. They walk for miles and miles of the arid land, same arid land, to look for water. What went wrong? 57, 80 years. Some places, animals die on the way. When we have pumped millions and millions, we should make that a subject, I think, one of these days, Miriam. Where did the money go for some specific areas where Songa should be doing a research on that, like a Turkana County? 10 years, one governor pumped in the highest amount of money in the history of Kenya, but you don't find the boreholes. People still die of water, yet the lake is across very near. That's one. Then he has not even sunk any boreholes. What is the problem? Are we bewitched? That's what I looked at the other side. When the thieves steal money, they silently steal it, but they publicly go to social media and tell the world that we are being targeted by Uhuru Kenyatta DCI, by Uhuru Kenyatta EACC, by Uhuru Kenyatta DPP. Surely is this a country that we should keep quiet and not talk about? This morning, however, we shall look at another aspect of why donors have soft support for corrupt tendencies and corrupt people across. Thank you very much. Mr. Onyango, can you put your shirt where you dress up properly? Then we can talk. No problem. You are welcome. Don't worry where you are. As long as you can come and contribute, we want more people to come here and contribute. Thank you very much. Onyango, speak from your point what you are. We want the type of people like you to come and don't be shy. Wherever you are, speak if you have some bundles. So, thank you very much. Yes, Onyango. Okay, thank you very much. As viewers, Miriam, the topic today is diplomatic leaks. In these diplomatic leaks, we want to look at why donors allow a man like William Ruto to travel to US, glorify him, give him a red carpet, allow him to come to London, where if you steal 10 pence in London, you are jailed for 7 years, fraudulently, and allow him to come back and lecture to them. The donors have soft support for corrupt people. That is the subject of today. You know very well, the Right Honorable Prime Minister went to London, and he spoke very well. He spoke as a diplomat. He was very diplomatic. He made a stand very clear. He praised the name of Kenya. He brought it up. But the deputy president went on an aggressive mood to embarrass the nation where he comes from, embarrass the country where he comes from. Are we safe? Whose hands are we safe? Let's look at the donor aspect. With us on the panel this morning, Miriam, good morning.
Doc, a very good morning to you. Good morning to our viewers. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on where they're tuned in to watch us today.
Thank you very much. And Gladiwell Kiruga, good morning, wherever you are across the Kenyan territory.
Good morning to you, Dr. David Watsanga. Good morning to you, Miriam. Good morning to my brother Daniel. And good morning to our viewers.
Thank you very much. There is also Brother Paul Onyango, our guest this morning. Good morning, Paul Onyango. Just the microphone.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm fine.
Well, you are speaking from Kisumu, where? Nairobi? Where are you?
I'm in Nairobi.
Yes,
my house.
Yes, thank you very much. I want you to stick there and speak your mind. How are you feeling down there? Have we allowed? Do we clap for thieves? Do we welcome thieves who have stolen money from us, and then they come and give us peanuts, and they say we shall give you more votes. So you stick there. You shall be asking you questions, and you can make your contribution to the topic. We are talking about donors. The British, Americans, Germans, the Europeans, are they overlooking hotspots in Africa where corruption is rampant? Corruption in most of African countries is rampant. But are we looking at hotspots? Do we look at them? Do we ban these guys from coming to our country? Why do they allow them to go there? Then they come. Are donors taking part? Are they part of they reap from the fruits of our profits that are being taken away by corruption? Daniel Wesonga, good morning.
Very good morning to you, Dr. Masanga David. Good morning to my colleague, Miriam Ogutu. Good morning to my colleague panelists, Gladwell Kiragu, and my brother, Paul Onyango in Nairobi.
Thank you very much. So this Miriam, give us a background. If you have a background there, the donor, how much money comes? There are people here who even go out and get donor money, saying this donor money even makes. There are people here who get money from the donors and they say for washing hands. For example, COVID-19, people went out and got money. We want to tell Kenyans how to wash hands. Then that money is corruptly eaten. Nobody gives the people that they have got the money for. Nobody gives them. Nobody allows them to have access to this money, to the book, the accountability. Do we make, let me be honest, are we ourselves trying to be corrupt? Then we come back and say we have corruption. What is your view, Miriam?
Sorry, good morning. My throat is a bit irritated. I was taking some water. Maybe I just give a bit of background information on the NGOs and the donors in this country. The official statistics on the 2021-2022 annual NGO sector report states the last year 2,712 NGOs invested about 158.7 billion Kenya shillings and employed about 42,308 Kenyan staff, about 37,000 interns, and of course volunteers over 5,040. Some 25 billion Kenya shillings was spent assisting the state to deliver on infrastructure expansion and the right to health, food and jobs. And of course, the story continues, but also some donors and funders have been accused of involvement in the influence of elections, as we've seen, some foreign monies in elections being blocked, and the government came out to direct funding for the IEBC and all that. So that is something also that is at stake as we speak right now. But yes, the donors have also been accused of aiding some institution or just looking the other way when some people they're involved in are engaging in the acts of corruption in the country.
Okay. Let me thank you very much, Miriam, for that background. 158 billion shillings pumped into the economy of Kenya by donors. Has this money reached Onyango? Onyango, Paul Onyango, where you are?
Yes.
When you hear this story that 158 billion was pumped into the Kenyan economy by donors, How do you feel?
Okay, I can start from my point. There's a time Kenya government, when Jubilee government came to power, they said they are going to borrow from Eurobond.
Yes.
The majority leader, Aden Duale, said that they want to leave the banks, our banks, for the Kenyan citizens to be able to borrow very cheaply.
Yes.
So in the end, we were told this Eurobond money, we have not ever been shown where it worked. The development projects that were meant for it, where it is serving the economy, there's no proper statement from the government until today. So
Yes.
my wonder with this man called Duale, he came out publicly telling us that we are going to get cheap loans as citizens. And later on, something changed on the way. They even made banks to cap up the borrowing rate. Now, again, he's the same person who came out again and telling the Kenyan public that this borrowing is for the rich people who are getting cheap loans. Now, there was no, he was a member of parliament and he was the majority leader. He's the one when these bills are being passed, on one hand he says this, on the other hand he says a different thing when he's out of government.
Paul.
Now,
Paul,
the men,
sorry, I'm interfering, but part of your head is cut off. Could you adjust your device just so that we can see your face properly? Just sit back. Sit back.
There. Thank you very much. We want to see you fully.
Yes.
You are making very good points.
Yes.
now
Go ahead.
my biggest issue is our representatives in parliament. They kind of lost their all the budgeting has never been helping the common man. People have been budgeting for corruption.
Yes.
And we have not been getting what we deserve. So the rate at which, if you look at in the continent of Africa, this thing where the World Bank normally produces statistics about poverty level. The poverty level has been created by the policies the World Bank and IMF giving the.
Yes.
Okay. A bit of a technical difficulty there. by
Technical.
Paul.
Don't worry, Paul.
When
You
is
put up your phone. We shall come back to you later, or you can use audio to speak. We now know who you are.
Yes, and I really wanted to hear the point he was bringing in that has to do with the IMF. All right, Doc, back to you.
Yes, thank you very much. Kiragu. So I don't know. Okay, Gladwell. Let me stick to Gladwell. Kirago, yes, Aterere, Kirago. Let me stick to that now. Let me ask you one question. The donors pumped, Medium has given us 158 billion pumped into the economy. Do you see it anywhere?
Daktari, where is that money? Where is it? I can't see it anywhere.
No, it might be in the road, the Thika road, the main road here. Well, do you see it? Has it all? You feel that money is here?
It might be here, but in people's pockets, specifically people's pockets.
So most of the money was taken by Miriam. When you said the context in which was it NGOs? Was it pumped through the donor community of the NGOs?
Yes.
Because it employed, yeah.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
Exactly.
Kirago, sorry. So we've been Avi and myself have been calling your name wrong this whole time. So it's not Kiruga, it's Kirago. Could you please mute your device when you're not talking? Thank you.
So in this sense, Medium, 158 billion, employing 100,000 Kenyans. Is that okay? Was it the stats that I...
Yes, those are the official statistics.
So you can see. Daniel, where is this money?
Yes, probably I agree with my co-panelist, Gladwell Kiragu, that this money could be in the pockets of a few individuals, and this could be the money we were seeing being given to churches and members of the clergy and MPs to go campaign back in 2018, 2017, and the years back where William Ruto called shots in government. So this is the money which is actually confusing young people in the villages singing about the wheelbarrow and the bottom-up approach, Dr. Masanga.
I have a different version. If you look at Medium quotes last year, 2021, the silence, the quietness of NGOs. The last report they made was in 2020. You remember the state capture? That report was the end. Medium, did you see any report by the NGOs this month, last year? Have you seen any report this? They usually issue statements about elections in Kenya. What has gone wrong? And what has gone wrong? What exactly has happened? Why are the NGOs quiet, Miriam? Why are they silent? Why are they in bed with something? And then there is something strange that I wanted to tell you. I don't know whether you discussed it this morning. I was offline. Miriam, I want to tell you frankly, my sister, that the theory of George Soros is coming true, is here. I have discovered, last night I was told, why somebody like Martha Karua is reluctant not to step anywhere. Wesonga will agree with me that she's heading to a place where she has never wanted.
Exactly.
And I was right all the way from the beginning. Wesonga, I told you, Miriam, I told you, that there is an NGO situation. The only problem that has disrupted the link of the NGOs, and I'm now telling you this, Miriam, is the government interfered with the money chain. That's why you saw Mudavadi and Wetangula becoming Iche after inking the agreement in New York about the funding by George Soros and other agencies that wanted to contribute. So the money that managed to come in is the little money that boosted a lot. You saw yesterday, Mudavadi did not appear at Safina party as Kwanza. Only one person and his party went. There is something brewing very seriously in that area. So someone is cobbling an NGO focused government coupled with and avoiding the word corruption. They are not caring, because some of these NGOs, their manifesto talk about fighting corruption. But now they are in bed with the same people who are corrupted, the same people allegedly to be corrupt. Believe me or not, our story and the story we have been talking about, the 158 billion has not benefited any Kenyan. I don't know, maybe Red Cross has tried. I don't know. If Miriam might have a few facts about the Red Cross.
The Red Cross has become equally very corrupt, we know. Remember they used to have those drives like right now on our paper this morning. Was it on the Star newspaper where Kenyans facing hunger to rise to 3.5 million? That is according to Matiang'i in the semi-arid and arid counties. So at a time like this, the Red Cross will, bring this information to Kenyans and will rally Kenyans and institutions and corporates and will come together and try to bring relief to our brothers and sisters who will be affected or are being affected by this drought and famine situations. But until Kenyans call them to be accountable to the money that people donate, I think it stopped because Kenyans demanded for accountability. And even just this morning, the Red Cross, the Kenya Red Cross itself, now it is refuting claims that it spent about 86 million Kenya shillings on meetings on its own hotel. The Boma Hotel in South Sea, owned by Red Cross. They do their meetings in their own hotel and they still pay for the space, and yet it is their own facility. So this tells you even Red Cross itself, an organization that was once known to be accountable, that was once known to be transparent. There are problems there that perhaps, I don't know, the government needs to look at, or the International Red Cross Society from its international level needs to look at, but there are some accountability issues being raised even within Red Cross itself. And if we can even bring in the issue to do with Galana Kulan, which was tied to the Red Cross, and we know how that has happened. Yeah, so things are not pretty over there too.
Paul Onyango is coming back, but I wish Paul Onyango, I will send you my email. I want, when you come back, I want you to send your number on my email. When he comes back, Miriam remind me so that he gets my email. This is very, very inspiring.
I think
very, very inspiring.
Yes.
Yes.
The production will send him your email on the chat box there. He will get it. Yeah.
Yes. So that you can send me your number, and then I can be boosting your whatever.
Yes.
So
yes.
Miriam, let's come back to the Red Cross. Miriam, I want to tell you frankly that Red Cross does a very good job. Those days, my days, can I say my days? Because these days, it has become commercial. And you are right to say it has spent 8.6 million in its own hotel. Where they hold meetings.
Doc, not 8.6, 86 million Kenya shillings.
86
not 10%.
Are they housing? Were they housing people for free?
But it is their own facility and it is their own meetings. Why would they pay for that?
So, it is for me, I am very happy that I have my children here today, with me on earth, still with me wherever they are in exile because of Red Cross, Miriam. I want to tell you, the Red Cross looked for them, searched for them. That is the Red Cross that we knew in 1987, 85, 86, 87. It was credible. It had no corruption. I gave description. I gave everything. I gave the little notes whom they can contact back at home. You remember that time was the time of the war of Lakwena. Lakwena sweeping the whole of Uganda, wars everywhere. Eastern Province, my place, everybody. But the children had hidden somewhere in a place where even my mother could not reach. But the Red Cross was able, Miriam was able to go and look for this, all of them, and find one. Then one group that said, no, that's my brother, this one, until they managed to get all the children. Through just a description, they got them documents. They got them documents. They got them tickets. I'm telling you, that's the Red Cross that you and I grew up knowing that it does good work. But when you look at the Red Cross of today, which is commercialized, it has got television stations, it has radio stations, it has TV, it buys land, it has put apartments. Is this the Red Cross that we thought? So the world has changed. The Red Cross that we see today seem to be the Red Cross that was not there in 1960s, 70s, 80s, and some parts of 90s. So if this is the type of donor that you are talking about, who has given donation, can they account for even the food that is going to go in those areas? If they cannot account for the accommodation of their own hotels where they sleep, where all of the officials come and sleep and make a bill of 86 million, of which we contribute. They have a pay bill number from from Safaricom. It is very, very sad. For me, I believe the donors have a soft spot for corrupt officials of their NGOs in Africa. Gladwell. Gladwell, Kirago. This name. Gladwell Kiragu, how are you?
Hello, sir.
Yes,
I'm fine.
Are you, where are you? You should be near your machine. I am saying.
I'm having network issues.
So, okay, fine. Are you able to talk now?
Yes.
Talk about the Red Cross. Where Miriam told us a report says 86 million was spent on meetings within their own facility. What do you think about it?
Allegations, yes.
Yes, I think it can be true because Red Cross of late is so much corrupt, and I can see it's not functioning as it used to be there before.
Okay, we've been experiencing a bit of a technical issue on Gladwell's side.
We shall help. Paul Onyango, are you there, Onyango?
Paul, are you back?
I'm there.
Go ahead.
Yeah, now, Paul Onyango, you can give your number to I don't know how we are gonna do it.
They will contact him. Steve knows. He will contact him now during the show. Yes, he will get it.
Paul, let you deal with, before you go off the network. Let's get to a song in first.
Yes.
Deal with, give my production team your number.
Okay, 0722.
No, Paul, don't give it online. It's not safe to just broadcast your personal number like that. Just go to the chat box and production will get in touch with you.
Can you write it on the chat box?
Yes. All right, as he does
What
that.
are you saying? Can I also use this number on the screen?
No, Paul, production is contacting you now, so let them handle that. Daniel Wasonga, yes.
Miriam, he might not know that message.
We are on a live broadcast.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Paul, the production is going to get in touch with you, but you can talk now.
Oh, I am a bit of, where is the topic? You're much ahead.
We are talking about the Red Cross.
Yeah, you can pick from where you stopped.
About Red Cross, or you can stick to your point about Duale having been the leader of majority, telling us that the Eurobond will bring a lot of money, and yet now the money is not there. He's turned the story to himself, condemning President Uhuru Kenyatta for having taken the money, yet he was the one who was telling us that he was going to do a good job.
Okay. Okay, my point is this. If you look at most of African governments, especially those who are under the Bretton Woods, most of the African governments, because of corruption is the corruption in African governments has made the population of the African people not to get value for the money. However much policies the Bretton Woods would like to advise the African governments to stick to, the same institutions, some of the top directors will find their way. They are the ones giving the awarding contracts to the same government. They are choosing for them the contractors to do for them their work. Now, it is upon the African people themselves, especially the Kenyan population, they should find a way of holding the elected leaders accountable for every single cent of the money that is budgeted for. It's very wrong for somebody like Duale to come back and look for the same seat. Meanwhile, he cheated the whole country that Eurobond is going to save the African person, the Kenyan person who wants to borrow, the Kenyan person who wants to see services brought to the door. It is very wrong for a leader seeking the same to represent us on the same issue, because we have not seen that one for the money. Again, it's now coming again for another term, seeking for the same position. I don't know what he's going to tell us when he gets back to Parliament again. So on the issue of the Kenyan Red Cross, on the Red Cross, I have a problem with the Red Cross sometimes, because you will find that when especially the disasters, especially fire, maybe around Nairobi, there are certain areas when some of these disasters, when they happen, Red Cross normally take a lot of time, especially the slum areas, for them to provide services. But when something happens, maybe within the city center or somewhere the far flank estates, you'll find the Red Cross coming very early. They give some services in good time, but when it comes to the slum areas, their response is not good at all. I think they need to do something about it. That's my point.
Okay, thank you very much, Paul Onyango from Nairobi, for your contribution. Those are valid points that you have raised. It is what we don't know what Dwali is telling us today, but we know he has jumped to a side that in Africa we clap for thieves. We are happy when we see a thief bring a new car in our village. I think, Daniel Wesonga, what do you think about that?
I think, Dr. Masanga, this actually vindicates you of the corruption that is in NGOs. We've seen the likes of Boniface Mwangi selling post-election violence photos to gain money to do their own personal projects. And one thing that we always wondered is that why is indeed that these NGOs purport to support people who are maybe in the lower classes of the society, but yet their offices are in the leafy suburbs of Nairobi. Their directors live in the top echelon, maybe top cream of the society areas, you know. They live in posh places, drive high-end cars, and live a lavish lifestyle. So the NGOs have become an avenue for extortion of public money and foreign money in this country. And Red Cross is just a tip of the iceberg of whatever corruption that is happening in NGOs. We know of NGOs that each election years, they go abroad to solicit funds, promising them of regime change and being able to sort the leadership in this country. But all that money ends up in the pockets of a few individuals. I'm not surprised that Red Cross spent that sum of money on their own facilities, the Jumuia, not the Jumuia, but the Boma Hotel, which is their own facility. And this was not done through competitive, procurement or tendering. And therefore, that tells you that even the NGOs that accuse government of corruption are the same avenues of corruption, themselves. And this is because the oversight body that is supposed to check and balance the NGO funds does not actually do its job. The last time we had NGOs being put on their feet in this country was when we had Fazul Mohammed as the director of the NGO, oversight body. But since he left that particular office, we haven't seen any much maybe oversight or maybe seriousness in regards of regulating NGOs, checking and balancing their cash books and making sure that they engage in legal, maybe within the legal framework or prism of this particular country. So that tells you that we have NGOs, hunger-ridden NGOs, which are rotten to the core. And if anything is to go by, then these are the most corrupt entities in this country. And therefore, that is why you will find that in Kenya, we have no single NGO which has come and stood stood against William Ruto and told him off in matters corruption, in matters witnesses disappearing in the case at the ICC, in matters even people being killed in his office. No NGO has ever come out and pronounced itself on that particular matter, because they are birds of a feather. This is an enterprise that they share in commonality, you know. They are all corrupt. They all enjoy money that they do not earn. And therefore, that is why the bosses in NGOs keep quiet whenever we hear about corruption scandals in this country. Whenever the president talks about dam money being stolen, the NGO does not even raise an alarm. We do not see people demonstrating on the streets, but wait until the government tries to do a progressive thing within maybe its confines. And then you'll see Boniface Mwangi ranting on social media. You'll see a few individuals mobilizing youth to go to the streets of Nairobi to demonstrate. This is double standard, Dr. Masanga, which will be condemned in no unequal terms by the Kenyans of goodwill. And therefore, using Red Cross as a benchmark, we can actually tell the amount of rot, the amount of conniving, and the amount of corruption that is actually in our NGOs. And remember, these are the same NGOs that have captured the judiciary. Therefore, Dr. Masanga, it's really a double tragedy for the people of Kenya, because the same NGOs that purport to be speaking for the people of Kenya and maybe to be instilling values in the society are the same ones which are rotten to the core. The rot in the Kenyan NGO stinks to the high heavens. And I'm sorry, Dr. Masanga, to say that it is a bit unfortunate that Kenyans are actually on their own. If not for the efforts of government through the relevant bodies as DCI and the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution, Kenyans will go to the dogs, because the NGOs are actually there to mint money. Today, if anybody in your area opened up a children's home, the first thing that comes to a rational Kenyan's mind is that this person actually wants to mint some money through this children's home. Whenever a person opens a non-governmental organization, be it for community development or even maybe a self-help group, it is actually a notion, a Kenyan notion, that they are actually doing it for the money that comes with NGOs. And why is it so? It is so because most people have used these NGOs as a pipeline and a conduit of earning free buys that comes from the foreign donors. And therefore, whichever corruption that we've seen with Red Cross is actually whatever is across board. Only that an audit has never been done with all these NGOs, including the Open Society Foundation. But if it was to be done, then you realize that these guys are actually fattening their pockets. They're eating quite some good sums of money in pretending that they're going to do this and that, whereas they're actually enriching themselves using this NGO money. So to me, I believe the most corrupt enterprise in this country is the NGO enterprise, closely followed by the judiciary and, of course, those who are in government. And of course, here in Kenya, when you Google about corruption in government, you know what the results is going to give you. And it's an open secret, Dr. Masanga, on that. So I believe there's a lot of NGO, and not unless we regulate NGOs, not unless we bring in the energy and the kind of strictness that Fazul Mohammed had brought at the NGOs board, then we shall not be able to control the kind of theft that we are seeing here in Kenya. And if good, maybe the perceived good NGOs like Red Cross can indulge in such kind of corruption, then we as Kenyans, we are even denying ourselves a chance at the table of international donors. You know, donors would have not maybe donated money for regime changes, but rather would have donated money to elevate people from hunger, help people maybe grow in terms of economic liberation and all that, will actually move away from us and go somewhere else, because they realize that the money they give to the Kenyan NGOs for good causes are actually misused, you know. So to me, I think, Dr. Masanga, we need a strict regulation to our NGOs. We need to do an audit of NGOs to make sure they are accountable. We cannot be having NGOs pointing fingers at the government, whereas their house is in total disarray, Dr. Masanga. I submit.
Okay. Thank you so much, Doc. If you can hear us, and I think there's a video.
Thank you. I hear you now. Thank you very much, Wesonga, for bringing out that detailed report. And look, Africa is endowed with quite a lot of resources. But we go to beg money from friendly countries, then even bring that little money to this continent and eat it. not for the purposes to serve the people. Let's look at this video as we come back to make our parting shots. If the video is ready. Meanwhile, Onyango, you prepare your number.
One thing that keeps me puzzled, despite having studied finance and economics at the world's best universities, the following question remains unanswered. Why is it that 5,000 units of our currency is worth 1 unit of your currency, where we are the ones with the actual gold reserves? It's quite evident that the aid is in fact not coming from the West to Africa, but from Africa to the Western world. The Western world depends on Africa in every possible way, since alternative resources are scarce out here. So how does the West ensure that the free aid keeps coming? By systematically destabilizing the wealthiest African nations and their systems, and all that backed by huge PR campaigns, leaving the entire world under the impression that Africa is poor and dying and merely surviving on the mercy of the West. Well done, Oxfam, UNICEF, Red Cross, Life Aid, and all the other organizations that continuously run multi-million-dollar advertisement campaigns depicting charity porn to sustain that image of Africa globally. Ad campaigns paid for by innocent people under the impression to help with their donations. While one hand gives under the flashing lights of cameras, the other takes in the shadows. We all know the dollar is worthless, while the euro is merely charged with German intellect and technology, and maybe some Italian pasta. How can one expect donations from nations that have so little? It's super sweet of you to come with your colored paper in exchange for our gold and diamonds. But instead, you should come empty-handed, filled with integrity and honor. We want to share with you our wealth and invite you to share with us. The perception is that a healthy and striving Africa would not disperse its resources as freely and cheaply, which is logical. Of course, it would instead sell its resources at world market prices, which in turn would destabilize and weaken Western economies, established on the post-colonial free meal system. Last year, the IMF reports that 6 out of 10 of the world's fastest growing economies are in Africa, measured by their GDP growth. The French Treasury, for example, is receiving about $500 billion year in, year out. Foreign exchange reserves from African countries based on colonial debt they forced them to pay. Former French President Jacques Chirac stated in an interview recently that we have to be honest and acknowledge that a big part of the money in our banks comes precisely from the exploitation of the African continent. In 2008, he stated that without Africa, France will slide down in the rank of a third world power. This is what happens in the human world, the world we have created. Have you ever wondered how things work in nature? One would assume that in evolution the fittest survives. However, in nature, any species that is overhunting, overexploiting the resources they depend on as nourishment, natural selection would sooner or later take the predator out because it offsets the balance.
All right. Yeah, that video there, I've watched it several times and it never, it's very disturbing. Some facts that are being laid out, and this, I know, is not new information to some of our viewers, but yes. Doc, back to you.
Yeah, thank you very much, viewers. And I just want to say thank you very much. You have heard that tape for yourselves, and you know very well what it means by having our money going in the West. We have a lot of resources, but we go and keep begging. What else can we say about this begging spirit? Then when the NGOs, have they done more damage? Closing remarks. Paul, let me start with you. Your closing remarks, please. 1 minute.
Okay, I've been following you from Facebook, and this morning I saw you in another TV station. I was also looking at you. I've been following you for a long time. So I'm very much proud for having let me inside the program. I'll continue following what I'm doing. I would like to develop myself from where I am. So I thank you for this opportunity. May God bless you.
Thank you very much. My production team will get in touch with you, Paul, shortly. And Graduate Kiragu, I have got the name correct. Parting shot. Thank you very much. Daniel.
Thank you so much, Dr. Matsanga. And I'll quote Confucius, in this. I'll say that do not point at a man's roof that has snow wherever, whilst your own doorstep is unclean. So let NGOs clean their own houses. We do not want to see NGOs standing up to the government only when the government is doing a progressive thing, whereas all this, the rot and the stinking smell that is in NGOs cannot even be withstood by the Kenyans themselves. So let the NGOs here in Kenya be regulated. Let us tighten the noose on NGOs and ensure, in as much as they make noise out there, they go out to sabotage the government. Also let them be accountable and drink the same water they preach. Let not them preach water and in return they drink wine, Dr. Matsanga. I submit.
Miriam.
Yes, indeed. And for some reason, the NGOs have been a bit quiet in the recent past. Well, there are a lot of issues that we see on the headlines every day that you would think they would take up and try to address and try to play their role, because that's what they do in lines with keeping government in check. But we've not seen them talk about the high levels of corruption. We haven't seen them talk about the mismanagement of funds in the counties. We've not seen them bringing out some of these issues. And the video we just watched there, so the NGOs, they need to step up and do more about that and just play their role as they should. And where the government feels they're not doing okay, or they're, using other ways to maybe is not very good for the country, then there are laws in place that should be applied to respond to that. The video we just watched, that lady talking there is just quite paints a grim picture of what is happening in Africa, in the loop-sided relationship between Africa and the Western world. And I think she quoted something former president of France, Jacques Chirac, said, and I think we've heard that before, about the exploitation specifically of France to its former colonies. And the economy of France is basically supported by some of these African countries, and without them, France will, be a third world country. And that is what the president said, which is really, to an essence, very true. And so I think it's about time Africa will stop lamenting, because a lot of these things, we allow them to happen. A lot of these agreements, like those countries that were colonized by France, they entered into an agreement, the previous government, that allows France to continue exploiting these countries and other, European countries, other Western, countries. So it's about time, I think, we stop lamenting and we do something about it. We can't keep lamenting about these things over and over and over, and yet we come back home and do nothing. It's about time we took action. If those agreements do not favor us as Africans, we have to demand for a review. And if not, I think we do have a right as independent countries to choose what's best for us. Okay, so I think it's about time we stop lamenting and do something about it.
Thank you very much, Miriam. Stop lamenting and do something about it. You have brought it to a very good end. This is a very good subject that continues on our platform discussion. Stop lamenting, do something about it. Is the government willing to do something about it? Miriam, I want to tell you that yes, the government in the last 2 weeks has stopped one of the biggest NGO network. Do you realize that Mr. Ruto is bankrupt? Thanks for our talking, and I want to thank you for our talking. I want to thank Daniel Kiruga for our talking. We bust the biggest network of NGO that has been bringing in money in this country. Some things are working quietly, silently. I want to thank those who have been listening to us. But let me give you a takeaway of just a few minutes. The entire Africa is on transition. The transitional politics of Africa indicates or is indicating a very dangerous trend that is to come. Regime change is being planted. NGOs are being paid money. NGOs are being funded. NGOs are being encouraged to create revolutions in poor communities where we come from. As you know very well, Africa is not reached a stage of a fully democratic state or status. Democracy takes time. It evolves from one generation to the other. America is 250 years. Britain is 1,900 years of democracy. In Britain, it is better. It is a crime to touch, even to declare a form of your income and make it a mistake on your form without saying it was a mistake. If you don't write another note to say, I'm sorry, I wrote wrongly, you will be charged, even go for 7 years. But in Africa, we have taken things lightly, as rightly put by the panel. We have turned everything into lamentation. We lament. We write books of lamentation in Africa. We don't take action. But how with action? What action can stop corruption on African continent? The only action to stop corruption in Africa is radical, holistic overhaul of our systems, of the criminal justice systems that we see that have killed most of the African countries. If we don't change the criminal justice system to come closer, tamper it with democracy, and tamper it with a bit of strictness, like what we see in Rwanda, that what we saw in Ethiopia, where you can leave your phone and find it where you left it, because nobody will use your phone. Nobody will take out the SIM card and press the SIM card. They will know who is on the phone. That type of strict adherence to the institutions that govern the social phones and media has helped some countries in Africa, like Rwanda, Ethiopia. Tanzania is beginning to do it. They are fighting corruption. The fight against corruption continues. But we must change radically, holistically, our institutions. I therefore say the donors seem to have soft spot for the NGOs that they give the money to work on the African continent. I submit. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Diplomatic Leaks. I apologize. Sorry. This has been Diplomatic Leaks. Thank you so much for your time, and a special thank you to Paul Onyango for taking your time and joining us this morning. And hopefully we will be having you on a regular here so that you speak on behalf of that constituent that you seem to be representing very well. Thank you so much. Daniel Wasunga, thank you. Gladwell Kirago. I'm just learning to say your second name rightly. We've been saying it wrong, all of us. Since you joined us. And you never corrected us.
We shall practice your name.
It's Kirago now. I got it. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank
Really.
you very much, Onyango. Thank you very much. Let's always be a regular. I'm going to talk to you shortly. Be a regular contributor here from where you are. Don't be ashamed, wherever you are, whatever condition you are in, but you have shown me there's some word that you pronounce that defeats me all the time. And can I tell you what the word was? Stats. I don't want to mention it, but you mentioned something static. And you see, when I started that word, Daniel, it's me. But Onyango pronounced it so well. Look at that. That's fantastic. Onyango, you are in. You are in. You are incorporated in Punchline Africa TV now. Every time we shall be sending you a poster. Just get ready when you have time off duty from what you are doing. If there is no work, make this. Don't sit there with that brain that you have. You have a brain, I can see. You have a very good brain. You have been following me and seeing the way I tussle with people. Now Mr. Wetangula has threatened me. Actually, he said when he takes over power, he's going to deal with me omundu humundu. You know? Wesonga, this is serious. I think Wesonga, you have to answer him because, he has to send you. He's here.
Wetangula should be told first that you are an elder of his community, and number two, you have a whole battalion behind you. So
no, let me say, when we take power, when I take power, he ended up by saying, the statement, Wetangula girls get weak and fall over me, over their heels, when they see me. In a few weeks' time, I will be the 5th president, and I will deal with him, Matanga, umundu humundu. So is that not a serious threat? Now he has joined Ruto, he might be dealing with me physically. So, Wesonga, I've told you, and then he signed White Weta the 50th. I was simply saying, he says the whole thing is that the other day, Dr. Masanga, the Ugandan, said on national TV that I am a Mugishu from Uganda. He went ahead and to allege that I, Wetangula, naturally a thief who could be stealing chicken in Sirisa if I had not achieved what I have, which is true. I am not saying no, it is true. Because he was also insulting Uhuru Kenyatta. And I replied to him on that contest. And I have no reason. I went further to say, Wetangula, and I want him to bring, I wish he brings it as a national debate. We can eat each other, then I can bring all the problems he has. You know, achieve what I have. I was shocked when he made this outrageous allegation that in Sirisa people hide their wives from me because I can steal them. I want to warn Masanga that I, Wetangula, girls, get weak and fall over their heels when they see me. Surely when they beat you every day, in a few weeks' time, I will be the fifth, and I will deal with him umundu humundu. So there you are. Now you tell me what I should do, Paul Onyango, Daniel Wesonga, and now I didn't know. Gladwell, can you make a comment here? Do you see, when you see Moses on the screen, do you fall?
Oh, no.
Okay, thank you very much. Moses, I was only making a comment to defend the President Uhuru Kenyatta. I was not offending you. But in any case, Moses, you are Mugisu from my place. If you want to refuse that, then we go deeper to find out how you arrived here. So I am ready for it. And it is not me who is going to be a loser, because I have never pretended to be a Kenyan. So it is up to you to choose. Either you start that debate, and then we make it very clean. It will end in a messy, bad and messy, as you always say. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Miriam, thank you very much. Well, we were still online. Oh no. Okay.
All right, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you later. Bye-bye for now.